Welcome ladies and gentlemen to another Call of Duty Warzone video. In this video we're going to compare the CR-56 Season 4 assault rifle with my favourite, the RAM7. We're going to compare the overall stats and the general feel of both guns so you know which one to choose for your loadout. I've had a good amount of time to try out the CR-56 inside Warzone to see how the gun performs at long range, and off the back of that I decided to change some of the attachments from the previous videos. On top of that, I've got a lot of experience using the RAM7 as it's my favourite gun to use in the whole of Warzone. Before we get into the details, 97% of you have not subscribed to the channel, so if you want to support the channel and help us reach our goal of 3,000 subscribers, hit that subscribe button, that would be greatly appreciated. First, let's take a look at the stats for both of these guns. Both guns have a low time to kill, which is amazing, and this is assuming that every enemy has only 100 health points, so that means no armor inside Warzone. Some key points to take away from this, as we already know the CR-56 has a high damage with low rate of fire model, whereas the RAM7 has the complete opposite, so slightly lower damage but a higher rate of fire, which is very similar to the M4. And of course the reload advantage goes to the RAM7. One important thing I'd like to mention, and the main reason why I like the RAM7 quite a lot, is that even with the longest barrels equipped and scopes, this gun still has great mobility and movement, which is very important inside Warzone, especially when you're trying to compete at close range against other assault rifles or especially SMGs. Whereas I can say the complete opposite for the CR-56, it feels like such a slow gun to use, to the point where it almost feels like an LMG when you're trying to run about the map. Of course there's other advantages to running the CR-56, such as the higher damage model, especially if you're running an SMG as your secondary weapon. Definitely run the CR-56 is a good option, but if you run an RPG or a sniper rifle as your secondary weapon, then the RAM7 is a clear choice here. Moving on to the recoil patterns as well as the hipfire, you can now see where the RAM7 has its disadvantage. So with the CR-56, you can see the recoil is almost straight vertically upwards with a bit of side-to-side bounce. The hipfire is not too great, but the same can be said with the RAM7 as well. With the RAM7, the recoil pattern's mostly upwards and to the left with a bit of horizontal recoil. This is almost exactly the same as the M4, just flipped the other way. The challenge here that most people are not used to is compensating for left recoil instead of right recoil. This is why you tend to find it's mostly PC players who play with keyboard and mouse tend to use the RAM7 as they can easily compensate for the recoil. There's of course controller players that do the same as well, but it's easier to compensate recoil on a mouse. After playing with both of these guns myself, I have to say the RAM7 is still my favourite assault rifle. Don't get me wrong, of course I have a loadout with the Grau from time to time just because it's overpowered at the moment, but for the most part I tend to use the RAM7. I think the RAM7 is pretty much an improved version of the M4. It has better mobility than the M4, especially when you attach longer barrels. It has less of that horrible horizontal recoil, and in my opinion it's just easier to manage. And of course you still have that benefit of the fast time to kill. In my opinion, the CR-56 is going to be the best mid-range weapon inside all of Warzone. It has a really high damage profile with a low time to kill, and with the setup you'll see in just a moment, it should be really easy to compensate for that recoil. Firstly, with the RAM7, you're going to want to use the monolithic suppressor, the FSS Ranger barrel, the Commando foregrip, the 50 round mags, and the stipple grip tape or the tac laser depending on which one you prefer. I personally think the iron sights on the RAM7 are pretty good, but you can always swap out one of these attachments for the VLK 3x optic. Next we're going to take a look at our new CR-56 setup. We're going to use the monolithic suppressor, the Zodiac barrel, the VLK optic, the Commando foregrip, and the 45 round mags. You can always swap out the 45 round mags for the tac laser or anything that gives you increased ADS time. An important thing I definitely want to mention is that there has been tests done with the VLK optic showing that it does help with the horizontal recoil. There's a video on the Exclusive Aces channel about this and I'll link that in the description below. But just taking a look at the recoil patterns once again, you can definitely see the CR-56 has the much improved recoil pattern. The recoil on the RAM7 has been improved just a bit, but it's still upwards and to the left, which once again might be difficult to control. And once again, neither of these guns are going to be outperforming any SMGs in a hipfire battle. Just to summarise, the CR-56 is a great mid-range assault rifle, especially with the setup you've seen. If you're going to run it with an SMG or a sidearm, it's definitely a good option, so you still keep the mobility as well. But if you're looking for the best well-rounded gun to pair with an RPG or a sniper, and especially if you're playing on PC, I highly recommend using the RAM7. Before you click off this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We definitely want to hit that 3,000 subscriber goal very soon. And if you enjoyed this video, definitely hit that like button so we know that you want to see more videos like this, and it helps the channel out as well. That's everything for today's video, and thank you very much for watching.